We are joined now by Justin and Bethany Pygott. They are the Fellowship of Christian Athletes ministers here at Mississippi College. We will talk to them a little bit about their ministry here at MC. Guys, thanks so much for taking time to join us. I want you to tell us, first of all, a little bit about yourselves. Give us a little bit about your personal background and how you came to Mississippi College. What's the path you took here? Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, the path here, I'm originally from Picayune, Mississippi, and went to Mississippi State to play baseball. And through that, got involved with this ministry called FCA, and ended up meeting Bethany there as well. She played basketball for a couple of years, and so we got to meet through that. And thought I wanted to go into something like, I don't know, involving grass, involving my major, since I was a turf grass management major at Mississippi State. That didn't really work out, and I ended up getting involved with coaching. Followed my former pitching coach over to a college and coached there for a couple of years. And through that, God kind of called us back into FCA and brought us back here to Mississippi College.
And Bethany, you're from Texas. It's refreshing to see somebody from Texas come to Mississippi for once. Tell us how you got to Mississippi State.
Well, I always wanted to play Division I basketball, and I didn't really care if I was on the sideline or getting to actually playing time. And so I kind of recruited Mississippi State. I walked on there. They were going to give me an opportunity to walk on, and so that's what I did. And went 10 hours from home and did that, loved it, played for 2 years, and then ended up working for Coach Fanning my last year and a half. But while I was there, I did get involved with FCA. My freshman year, I got involved and stayed involved through my senior year. And like Justin said, that's how we met. And then we got married December of 2008 once I graduated.
Now, Mississippi State's a much bigger campus than Mississippi College. You got all kinds of activities that you can get involved in. What drew you guys to FCA once you got to Mississippi State?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, for me, I know it was just I was 10 hours from home. And I'd been involved with FCA since my 7th grade year. And so we had a really strong middle school program, a little bit in high school. But when I went to state, I can remember the FCA director talking to all the athletes at the beginning of the year. And I was like, I need to get to know him because I really want to stay involved with that ministry because it had meant so much to me through junior high and high school. So that's what drew me to it, just being involved before, previous experience, but then also just I had met some other people that were involved, and they got me involved really quick and introduced me to him. And so from my freshman year to my senior year, I served on the leadership team, and that's how I got involved. But it was really became a family for me, especially being 10 hours from home. And basketball is probably the worst season you could play because you don't ever get breaks during the year. And so, you know, at Christmas with 5 days, it's about the longest you get. And so it really was helpful to have some friends up there in that group that I could hang around with or go to holidays with them and stuff like that. So.
What about you, Justin? How did you get involved in FCA, and what was that experience like for you?
Well, for me, it was a friend that was there. She was from Picayune as well. She was a high jumper on the track team. And she kept pestering me about coming to FCA. I was involved with the local church and had a great time there, gotten plugged in with the college ministry. And so I was kind of reluctant. I was like, well, I don't really need something else. And but in some ways, a little nervous about it as well. But I went and got involved, and it was just, like Bethany said, it was a family. We were all in it together. We were all in the same pressures of being an athlete at a school like this. And so we could really feel for each other through the stuff we went through, and to be able to worship with a bunch of athletes together, and to live life together, to experience community together. Wow, it was amazing to me, and it was definitely something that I needed at the time, and that God really grew me at that time for Bethany as well. So when we met, it was meant to be for sure.
I would think that one of the things about FCA is that it is about connecting with students through this common interest of athletics. Talk a little bit about that, Justin, I guess, if you will, about how you connect with students here on the MC campus through the common interest of playing sports.
Something about it, and I know that it's different. It just gets down to it, it's different. And it's not a split between students and student athletes. It's a different mindset. There's a competitive edge to it, and it's just it doesn't mean that we're any better than anybody else. It's just it's different, and to know that you're going through those pressures of having to perform and do these things, which you do as a regular student as well, but to represent your school in this way, and all the pressures that come with it, and also the pressures of fitting in and trying to find a place and to find value and worth. And it's so easy as an athlete to get wrapped up in fear of failure and their identity in the sport. It's something they've been doing so long. But it's just, it's just something about it. There's an interest there. There's a bond. There's a team unity kind of deal that you all want, desire, and so to find that community with FCA, it just fits. It makes sense. It uses the leverage of sports to get the cause of Christ out.
And Bethany, I would think that working together as a husband-wife team, you get to connect with the female student athletes in a way that Justin couldn't, and so that makes the ministry even more significant.
For sure. I think a lot of times women are kind of left out of the whole ministry thing when we think about how we minister to athletes and coaches. We kind of forget about the girls, and so that's really something that's neat that I can do alongside with Justin. But I can communicate with them just about female stuff, but then also about just being a female athlete and the pressures there with that and everything. So it really is special that I get to be part of it too.
What does your weekly schedule look like? Not just in terms of the ministry and the things that you do, but your personal life as well, because I would imagine it's a pretty delicate balance. Bethany, what does your weekly schedule look like?
Trying to squeeze in working out and some other personal things, us making sure that we spend time together. We do try to do that weekly, block out some time, preferably to try to not talk about FCA and MC. But as far as the ministry aspect, there's a lot of things that we do different. I do a lot of the administrative kind of stuff, organizing things for our leadership team and for our weekly flow of things, and then also like meeting with girls one-on-one, just to encourage them, our leaders. I like to emphasize that because I know as a leader myself, a lot of times I felt like sometimes maybe I was forgotten or that people didn't think that I needed the encouragement because you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're responsible, and so I really have a heart to make sure that they're doing okay, and so I meet with them, and then we also attend a lot of practices when we can in the afternoons. Just that gives us a great opportunity to meet some of those other athletes that don't come to the ministry stuff that we do, but we can still interact with them from being in their world and things like that, and I think they respect that too, when you can know this is what they're going through on a daily basis and you can relate to them that way. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of a little bit.
Sure. And in terms of ministry activities, I know a lot of campus ministries will have different levels of activities that the students can be involved in. What's the front door for FCA, and then once they get in the door, what other things are there for student athletes to be involved in?
Sure. Well, we do have a huddle on Monday nights at 8:30, and that's where everybody comes together. We've kind of been averaging around 75 or so this year, which has been great so far. But also within the huddle, there's different areas where you can get involved. One, we have life groups on each team, which is just a small group Bible study led by our leaders, some of our leaders that do that. And some are really established, some are just kind of starting up. But it's just a great time to get maybe a little more depth in that relationship for someone that want to learn a little bit more and have the one-on-one in the small group setting. And then also we have apartment ministry we do once a week at this Arbor Park. We love these kids. We've been out there for a year and a half. We have many students come out and get involved there to get their hands dirty and serve and just love on these kids that need love and need the gospel. And so just, there's different things that we do, and we're just trying to give them opportunities, again, to find community, to invest somewhere, to give back to the school, that's given so much to them. And those are some of the things that we do.
Sports is very goal-oriented. Mm-hmm. What are some of the goals that you have as campus ministers for the students who come in and get involved in FCA and they graduate and they go on to do whatever God's called them to do? In terms of how you can shape them through the ministry, what are some of the goals that you have for those students?
Well, I know that we, last spring, we had to really identify what it looked like to win in ministry because, a coach can look at the scoreboard, a team can look at the scoreboard, but in ministry it can be vague sometimes. And so we wanted to make sure we're hitting the mark on what we say that we're doing and not just say, okay, I think this event helps this, or I think the huddle is accomplishing this. And so we came up with 4 areas where we discuss every week with our leadership team how they're seeing these things happen, to encourage them to continue and to make sure that we're doing what we say we're going to do. So those things are just that we would see teams affected by Christ in a visible way, that we see coaches coaching biblically, that we are cultivating community and relationships, that kind of environment, and then teaching them to disciple and to invest in other people and see that multiplication process play out. And so those are the 4 areas that we look at, and we just say that they're wins, and we get to talk about stories every week of where we see those things. But I know it's our heart that they would take what they've learned here in the community aspect of what they've gotten coming through this ministry, and take that to wherever they go, whatever job environment they're in, that they wouldn't just go and just sit back and be like, man, I don't have that anymore, but that they would initiate those things. And we've seen a student, Andy McKellia, he ran here, he transferred to Blue Mountain, and I saw him at cross country meet last week or a couple weeks ago, and he said, it's y'all's fault that I left. And I said, what are you talking about? And he got really involved with our apartment ministry, and his mom had sent me a note just talking about how, like, encouraging us, like there might just be one student that you really reach, but continue, just really encouraging. And she got really emotional when she was talking about Andy, because he decided to stay because closer to home and go to Blue Mountain, so that he could start like an apartment ministry thing there in their community. And he started a leadership team with their youth at their church, and he just didn't want to up and leave all that stuff after starting that this summer. And she said, Bethany, I don't know if this is the case, but like, she was like, Andy was, I know for sure, watching like that one, like the Holy Spirit really stirred in him like a passion to do this stuff, and it's awesome to see what he's doing now. And so that would be our hope, that we would plant that seed, that they would go and then do that in other places. And so we try to communicate that as best as possible.
And I would think, Justin, that a lot of college students who play sports, they come and they have dreams of one day playing professionally somewhere on some level. And we know the percentage that actually do is really, really small, especially at the Division III level. And I would think it's especially important to make sure that when they do go out in their chosen vocation, whatever God has them to do, that these goals that they learn, the things they learn in FCA are transferable to their vocation.
Sure. And we want them to really max out their ability. We get down to it. We want them to max out their potential here. We want them to see the opportunities to invest and do those, invest in people that are coming after them. I want to see them, obviously, I want to see them be better athletes and be able to leave with no regrets and to go, I did everything that I could to max out the ability God's given me. And to see that play out on the field, and to see them invest in their team, and to see a team change, a culture change in those ways, and coaches come alongside of that and lead that. That's really what we want to see, and that transfers so much into life. I look back at all the lessons that I learned from Coach Polk, and just the structure, the professionalism, the way he fought for us and cared about us. And I really want that to be replicated here for sure.
Well, we know that as you guys are making investment in our students, that you've got other people who are making investments in you, because one of the things that you have to do is to raise your support to be able to minister on this campus. And so if folks want to be able to do that, what's the best way? How can they get in touch with you, or how can they best support you?
The best way is to just go to the Choctaw website. There's a link for FCA there, and it'll take you to the page that's on the MC website. And there's opportunities you can learn about how to contribute to the ministry there. We also send out information once a month. I send out a newsletter, and also some weekly things like the wins that I mentioned. I send those out weekly. Just pick a couple of those stories just to share. And there's also a link for that on our website. But we really do, it is support-based, and it's really not about like the money and raising the money, but it's the investment that other people get to make. And it's really what they gain from that, like the fruit. It's really about like you get the fruit of what we're doing, like you get to be a part of that. It's so much bigger than just here's a check or here's this. Like you get to receive the reward too. And so we love sharing that with people for sure.
Well, we appreciate so much what you guys do on this campus. We're glad you're here. We hope you stay a while, and we wish you all the best as the semester draws to a close. And looking forward, I know you guys are like me. When football season ends, you just have one more season that begins. And
That's right.
I know you guys are looking forward to some more long road trips, and hopefully they'll get shorter as the years go along.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Justin and Bethany Pygott, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes ministers here at Mississippi College.